Tom's doing good, Sal. All right. Well, in light of the global killer that almost struck Earth this week, it's time to remind my audience, of whom I'm still trying to warn Mormons that it's the end of the world, and that despite their insistence that they're going to wait to be compelled to be told by President Russell M. Nelson or whoever in the future that the signs in the heavens have finally occurred. Get a clue. They've already happened. They are currently happening. So, stars fall from the heavens. Common addition to the sun shall be darkened, moon turned to blood, stars fall from the heavens. And so, as I've told you before, Joseph Smith, in his revision in Revelation 12, adds in, there shall be a sign in the heavens in the likeness of things on the earth. And what that means is that the signs in the heavens tell a story which was then written into Scripture as prophecy. And if you don't understand the manner in which you assign anthropomorphic characteristics to the constellations and the celestial bodies, planets, sun, the moon, through those bodies, you're not going to understand the scriptural stories. That's just one of the levels of translation. The ancient Egyptians are the ones who put them in petroglyph form. And for example, Orion in Egyptian is Osiris. And so as a shofar horn has the three stars that are the belt of Orion that point to his son, Horus, which is the star Sirius, a fixed star. And then Isis originally stood on top of Sirius, the mother of Horus, the wife of Osiris. And so the concept of the birth of the Christ and all that come from that, depending on the story you're telling. And so what we have in the latter days, when they say the sun shall be darkened, moon turned to blood, they're not just saying, well, you'll have a total solar and lunar eclipse, because they happen all the time. How are we supposed to know which one is the actual one? Well, it's because of the timing, as well as where they occur. For example, 21st of August 2017, the total solar eclipse that occurred over the whole United States, which will then cross on the in 2024 on April 8th, means that this land is the land for the fulfillment of all the prophecies. So it's not Jerusalem, it's not Egypt, it's America. So the biblical stories, even though they're talking about Egypt with Moses and the Exodus, even though they have a Jesus Christ who dies and is resurrected, they're talking about America. And you can argue all you want, but I've been right this whole time, if you've been paying attention, rather than arguing with the titles and just coming on here to put a thumbs down and then run away and hide because you're scared of the truth. Mormons cannot comment because they cannot comment legitimately. Judge Waddups accused me of claiming of using an ad hominem by presenting the inverted pentagram of Lucifer, the Illuminati, on the Salt Lake Temple arch of the doorway and the Eagle Gate. I'm still thinking Seagull Gate. I just corrected that the other day. Which confirms with an eagle and the inverted pentagram, that is Illuminati. There is no other interpretation of the symbolism of that. It's Illuminati. That's their symbolism. They developed it long before the Smiths. And so it doesn't work to just say, no, it's not it. Prove it. Because it's already been proven. It's established. But, you know, Brigham Young's Ponderosa, he's Illuminati. And I can confirm it with Heber C. Kimball and his little claim on Wikipedia under Masonry. All lies. The church itself says, oh, that's just from Masonry. That's just Masonry symbolism. No big deal. Nothing to see here. Move on. These are not the droids you were looking for. So, yeah. It's a falling star. And thus, the Illuminati are falling stars of Lucifer. That's why they talk about in the heavens falling stars for the latter-day signs. And there's specific signs on specific dates corresponding with specific events on Earth. And so, interesting that there seems to be a God, because there's no way the ancient Egyptians would have known it was going to be Nelson's birthday right in between asteroids, meteor showers, because they're asteroids and then they enter the Earth's atmosphere and they become meteor showers. So meteor showers before his birthday, the day before, and then an asteroid global killer the day after. And I just did that video. If you're going, what? Global killer? Yeah. Global killer. Just passed us by. It was just discovered on August 27th. A global killer. And they just found it August 27th. So, yeah, we almost died. Utah died. Dear God, the power went out with that storm on the 8th. The day before, when stars fell from the heavens. And so, to tell you about other stars that fell from the heaven, we could go to the 3 that died during the tetrad, but I don't know of an actual star falling from heaven sign to correspond. It was a lunar eclipse sign as far as I can tell. However, Monson, he died. Yeah. And that's how I know Nelson is Mars, because Mars, when Monson died, Nelson, as Mars, he takes over the leadership of the church. And that's where Mars was at the top of Libra, the scales of judgment. I recognize that because our 2016 election had Mercury at the top. Because Trump won, he becomes Mercury. And so I follow Mercury, confirm, oh wow, yeah, sure, wow, yeah, 21st of August 2017, Mars and Mercury are in conjunction with the total solar eclipse at the star Regulus, the king star in Leo. Just see what they were doing. The astronomers did not point that out to anybody. They just said, oh yeah, those ancients, yeah, they talked about doomsday and death. No, this is myth. Yeah, accurate myth, that they knew exactly when it would occur, as it was the ancient Egyptian religious New Year. Never happened before on the New Year, never will happen again on a New Year. The beginning of the battle between Horus and Set, Horus loses his right eye. He then loses his left eye, but the movie messes it up. But yeah, beginning of the battle, solar eclipse. And Mars as Nelson and Mercury as Trump are with it over America. And so you can be deniers all you want, as Trump has now declared he is purposely murdering all of us so that only the strong will survive with coronavirus. And he's already throwing away votes. I believe it's North Carolina that got to start their voting already, and there's already votes being thrown away. He will not have an election this year, even though the 21st of November, Mercury is again at the top of Libra. So we'll have to wait and see how that's fulfilled. But he will win at all costs. He's already rigged it so that he will win. And so for Democrats to be going on social media and television shows saying, yeah, we're going to get Trump, we're going to vote him out. It's too late. Too late. Trump already rigged it. It's over. He won. And yeah, only North Carolina or whatever, the only one that started their votes, and they're already being thrown away. It was NBC News, if you're wanting the source. Concerns about, I can't remember the title. I saw it in passing. I'll get it tomorrow or the next day. But Monson, when he died at 10:02, was it, in the evening, guess what appears in the sky? Quadranted meteor showers. And they're the third largest showers of the year. So now go to Revelation chapter 12, and it's verse 4. And the stars shall fall from the tail of the dragon. Quadrantids are at the tail of Draco the dragon constellation. It's a very simple thing, easily fulfilled. Just as Joseph Smith said, as the Book of Mormon says, we will know when it all happens. We now know because it's happened. So we now know the interpretation of Scripture. And yet Nelson is being silent. You have only me and my sarcastic, whiny, snowflake cupcake voice that annoys Mormons only because I'm right. And you don't like me being right. You want Nelson to be the one to stand up and say, hey, Mormons, the signs are here. Yeah, well, guess what, Mormons? He's the enemy. That's why he's silent. That's why he's opening up church. He's now allowing for state conferences. Even though he says you can have them digitally, oh, why couldn't we have church and state conferences digitally along with conference? Didn't they think of that? No, they didn't. They insisted that the churches be opened and that we gather so that we can spread the virus. Oh, but no, we would sit 6 feet distance and all wear masks as Herbert takes us to yellow and green, and then Mormons are wondering, well, if it's safe, why are we wearing masks? It's because they're setting you up, guys. They're the Illuminati. This was planned in the Book of Mormon. Well, not planned in the Book of Mormon. It was exposed in the Book of Mormon as their plans to attack us. That's why the Book of Mormon, Doctrine and Covenants, were warning us. Coronavirus was going to be the weapon. Doctrine and Covenants 45:31. And then Book of Mormon, very first page. In the first year of the reign of King Zedekiah, who was put on the throne of Jerusalem by Babylon, Lehi then sees in a dream the sign of the Son of Man. September 23rd, 2017. The first year of Trump. Not a coincidence. And though John Dehlin and LDS critics, they all know that the Book of Mormon's plagiarized. LDS critics, John Dehlin, he just did a video on Captain Kidd. He still thinks Joseph wrote the Book of Mormon. No! Sidney Rigdon. That's the linguistics that have come out. But, anyway, I'm diverting. And so, I'm supposed to be going to bed. And so the day before Nelson, quadrantids. And it was on a supermoon, because remember, there was a lunar eclipse on the 31st of January, 2018. Not just any lunar eclipse, a super blood blue wolf lunar eclipse. Total lunar eclipse. And not a coincidence, that's wolf. Wolves in sheep's clothing. How do you identify a false prophet? Oh, the sign of the heaven. Their fruit. Nelson's fruit during this catastrophe in Utah: silence, inaction, leaving Mormons without power, not taking care of their needs with food. I'll go into the Book of Mormon under priestcraft. I believe it's 2nd Nephi. Second Nephi 26:29. And he commandeth that there shall be no priestcrafts. Behold, priestcrafts are defined, as he says, are that men preach and set themselves up for a light unto the world, president of the church, that they may get gain. He gets paid, he gets a paycheck. Church has trillions of dollars in savings from their investments. We just heard about Ensign Peak Associates that had the 100 billion plus the 40 billion portfolio and other billions that they've got. And then praise of the world. Yep, church is being praised. But they seek not the welfare of Zion. Gathering money and say, well, it's for a rainy day. We just had a rainy day this past week. You've got trillions. You can't afford several million to fix things for Mormons here in Utah? You had Helping Hands Mormons in Louisiana with Laura. And you can't help Mormons here in the center stake of Zion, as you call it? Are you referring to Zion as the buildings? Or are you supposed to treat it as the people? Because here, he goes on. Behold, the Lord hath forbidden this thing. Wherefore the Lord God hath given a commandment that all men should have charity, which charity is love. And except they should have charity, they were nothing. Wherefore, if they should have charity, they would not suffer the laborer in Zion to perish. Oops. This is why I'm critical of the church. Nelson's not following the Book of Mormon. This is the keystone of our religion. Nelson has to follow it. He can't have authority to dismiss the Book of Mormon. Pull out the keystone. Because guess what happens to the church when he does that? Bye-bye to the authority of that man. Section 121. Many are called, few are chosen. And so, yes, as stars fell from the heaven when Monson died, the day before Nelson's birthday, the autumn meteor showers fell in Pisces right next to Mars. As I told you, that's Nelson. As I've also been telling you, because he's in Pisces, the fish, he's therefore Dagon of Mesopotamia, Babylon, Assyria, the fish god. Not a good title to have. And so on that day, what happens? A massive rainstorm in the morning while I go running, and then when I come back that day, power outage at my place too. And as I last heard, still today, there are those here in Utah without power. But Nelson had a great birthday, apparently. I am kind of wondering, because if he is silent, and it's only a press release that he thanks people for well wishes for his birthday, is there something that we're not being told? In 22, well, that's probably less than, tomorrow night, there's supposed to be that face-to-face with Razband, I think it is, and his wife. It would be interesting if they actually appear. They haven't canceled it, so I guess he's still alive. It requires 7 apostles to form a quorum to do business. If you have 6, oops, can't do business. Which means no new president of the church with just 6. No calling new apostles with just 6. Oops. But we don't know. We don't know. But tomorrow, or Thursday, the day after his birthday, the global killer. Not just a star falling from heaven, a global killer. Wormwood? Huh. I remember there was fake news about a comet that was going to strike the Earth way back in 2017. I did a book on it, but yeah, evangelicals were eating it up, going, "Oh yeah, oh wow, it's hiding in the sun so that we can't see it," and it was defying the laws of physics, and nobody caught on. But yeah, I can't remember the name of it anymore, but they've since stopped. But yeah, they were trying to confuse people because I had found out about 23rd September 2017, and so this other comet thing was out there in full force, along with a couple other people I saw also had found out about 23 September 2017, but they didn't understand that it was what it meant. They were deceiving us as to thinking it was the Antichrist that was coming, and then they had the other disinformation about this other rogue comet or planet. That was going to hit the Earth. Oh, I'm losing my voice. I've lost my voice. And so, but yeah, this was an actual asteroid that was over 3,000 pounds and would definitely, or 3,000 miles. That's how big it was. And thus, if it did enter the Earth's atmosphere, got sucked in by the gravity, would have destroyed all life on Earth. But we were spared. Also, in between those two stars falling from heaven, on Nelson's birthday, and it is officially filed. Now that's recusal. Nobody wants to take this case because one of their own is being accused of treason and terrorism. It has been officially filed for the 9th. So here's I can show you the recusal. There you go. Order of recusal. David Barlow. Yep, he did not want this case. Because they know I win. Because what-ups, dear God. He said that pointing out the inverted pentagrams, that's an ad hominem, Travis. You can't touch the church. Church is untouchable. Yeah, up yours, buddy. You're now a traitor and a terrorist. Take that. And they are the Illuminati, as the Book of Mormon warned us about, as the Smiths warned us about, that there was going to be a day when the Constitution would be jeopardized, and that it would be the members of the church who were supposed to rise up and save America and the Constitution. Oops. The only one doing that. Just one person. I wonder what that means, Mormons. So yeah, stars fall from heaven the day before his birthday. Lawsuit. You are the falling star of the Illuminati on his birthday. And then a global killer falling star the day after his birthday. 3 days of falling stars. So, you better watch out. You better not pout. You better not da. We're talking biblical proportions, Mr. Mayor. Real wrath of God type stuff. Fire and brimstone falling from the skies. Rivers boiling. Dead rising from the grave. I can't memorize it all, but the dead rising from the grave. Dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria. Ghostbusters. So, yeah. It's here, Mormons. And you're not prepared. You are the foolish virgins.